Hey guys, it's Lydia and I am back with another video. Bronco is here as emotional support. I know I didn't post last week. I am so sorry. I've just been very tired. I've been burning, the candlestick at both ends. If you don't follow me on Instagram and TikTok, I've been posting on there a lot more frequently, pretty much daily. So if you're interested in what my day-to-day looks like, any sort of funny short form content, I'm doing a lot of storytelling over there. But because of that, all of my free time in the evenings has kind of gone towards editing my short form content, which has really taken a lot out of me. But I'm back and I'm here with a video that I've received a lot of requests for. I mean, a lot, not a lot, but requests for, which is how I budgeted for my move over to Korea, how I prepared, and what my first month sort of looked like. So I'm here to share that with you in hopes that this will help you with your own preparation for your move abroad, whether it's to Korea or elsewhere. Yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Okay, I want to start this off by saying I will have my phone out a lot, okay? There's a lot to cover in this video and I want to keep it as short as possible, she says as she's talking about all of this. But I don't want you to hate me if I'm looking down, okay? If you want the information, you gotta bear with me here, okay? All right. Now, what I want to start off with first is what I brought to Korea, home essentials and dog items. I was thinking about, okay, when I get to Korea, what are the first things I'm gonna need right away, and what am I gonna have to leave the house for? I wanted to minimize the amount of times I had to leave my apartment in the first week, because I'm going to be working on top of having to buy apartment essentials, on top of having to take care of Bronco. It's impossible. On top of that, I work 9:40 to 6:40, which means I can't run errands before work, and I can barely run errands after work because I have to take care of Bronco. So I brought quite a lot. My luggage was overweight. Things I don't regret bringing are bed sheets, as in I brought a flat sheet, a fitted sheet, 2 pillowcases. I brought actual pillows. Yes, I did. Actual pillows, vacuum sealed. And I also brought a duvet cover set. Why, you ask? Because I did not want to climb into a bed with a single sheet, okay? No.
Absolutely not.
I also brought dish towels, plates, cutlery, a wine bottle opener. I brought dish sponges, dish soap, and disinfectant wipes. I don't regret bringing any of those things, okay? For the home essentials right off the bat, I didn't have to worry. I could buy food, wash my plate, and put it away on my first night and not have to worry about running off to Daiso to go grab the small essentials. So if you're like me and you want to have a comfortable night in, bring bed sheets, bring a pillow, and live your best life, okay? Pay those overweight luggage fees. Just do it. Now, when it came to bringing stuff for Bronco, I brought the essentials. I brought a grooming kit, which included scissors, combs, a slicker brush. I brought leashes, 3 different leashes. I brought his harnesses. I brought a feeding bowl, a water bowl. I brought travel size shampoo and conditioner for him so I could bathe him after him being under the plane. Obviously because if he had any accidents, I didn't want to have to worry about not being able to clean him right away. I brought his food in a Ziploc bag that I actually taped to his crate in case for whatever reason he didn't arrive with me on the plane, then he would have access to food. However, it's very unlikely that they will do that for your dog. But no one touched the food that was on top of his crate, so I had enough food in that Ziploc bag for 2 feedings, which was great. Very, very useful. A lot of people say they bring dog food in their actual checked baggage or in their carry-ons, but you run the risk of that being confiscated or taken away. So I received a lot of tips of just bring it in a Ziploc baggie, much easier than having to throw away a whole bag of food if it comes down to it. I also brought Bronco probiotics. Yes, I brought probiotics for him. That was recommended by his vet. Apparently, when dogs go through large changes or if there's any differences in his diet, then the probiotics would help him settle a lot better, and he was taking probiotics at home. I brought 2 different kinds of probiotics. I brought the ProPlan probiotic, just the regular one, and then the calming one that helps with regulating their emotions. I love that probiotic. I don't know if it was the calming ProPlan probiotic that helped him settle in the new apartment a lot better, but he did phenomenal. Like, literally no barking. I still can't get over it. By God's grace, like, he's done super, super well adjusting to Korea. So I'm very happy about that. Oh, hi. I also made sure to bring Bronco's favorite toys, and I brought extras of his favorite toys because I was worried that, like, I wouldn't be able to find that exact toy here. And I think having a toy that he's familiar with would make him settle a lot better. So I brought his favorite chew toy, his favorite balls, and seconds of those as backup. Any house items that I could not bring with me, I purchased in advance through IKEA Korea. IKEA Korea amazingly accepts foreign credit cards. And not only that, but you can schedule your delivery like 2 weeks in advance. So I budgeted to make a bigger purchase on IKEA so that when I got here, everything was delivered to my school provided apartment the day that I arrived. I would do that every single time. When it comes to like electronics, one thing I really want to emphasize are the travel adapters that we're buying, or those converters. Make sure you're buying one that can go into a wall. I'll put a picture here or somewhere on the screen, but the plugs in Korea, a lot of them are like deep in the wall. They're not like flush where, you know, flat against the wall where you can just put in your adapter or converter. Like, they go in. So if you have an adapter or converter that sort of just has the prongs, it's like a block and just has the prongs, then it's not going to fit into the plug properly, because I was having a lot of difficulty with mine when I was putting them into the wall. They were sort of loose and wobbly, and I wasn't able to charge my electronics successfully or like efficiently, so I had to go buy new ones at like Daiso. Yeah, that was unfortunate. When it comes to things I'm thankful that I prepared in advance, one would be a SIM card. So I ordered a SIM card through Klook, and that SIM card was like a 30-day unlimited data SIM card with call and text, and I would do that again and again. Another thing that I would recommend that people do is get a WOWPASS. So WOWPASS I found out through like a Reddit thread, but it functions as like a Korean debit card that you can top up and use freely everywhere in Korea. I've used it in taxis, I've used it in convenience stores, I've used it at restaurants. It works perfectly every single time. The only downside is it doesn't work online. I hope one day they make an online version where you can order things online, but with the way that the Korean banking system is set up, I can never see that happening. Honestly, the Korean banking system is super complicated for online purchases. Once you get your physical card and you top it up at the machine in person, you can top it up on the app. Like, you don't have to go to the machine anymore. You can just top it up on the app. On top of that, you can top it up as a T-Money card. And you can top it up via PayPal. Like, how amazing is that? I feel like with credit cards, like in foreign credit cards, Visas, MasterCards, it's like a hit or miss if they work at a restaurant or in a taxi or at a random establishment in the middle of nowhere. So just knowing that, like, I could go purchase things without having to stress about whether or not my card would be accepted, and then figuring out if I had enough cash to pay for the thing that I wanted to buy, it was like a breath of fresh air. So yeah, I'll put information for it down below, but definitely recommend looking at potentially getting a WOWPASS if that's something that you're interested in. Now, when it comes to pet transportation and like my Airbnb and how I sort of came here and what I did in order to prepare, I arrived with Bronco 5 days before I could move into my school-provided apartment. So I had to get an Airbnb that was close to where I currently live now. And the Airbnb situation in Korea, a lot of them will say that they're pet-friendly, but they're not pet-friendly. You really have to message the host first and ask if they will accept dogs, and they will tell you if they do or don't. So message the host first before booking your Airbnb with them so that you know your accommodation is pet-friendly. Okay, then how did I get from the airport to my Airbnb, then to my school accommodation? Well, there's a Facebook group called Everything Pause Korea. I believe that's what it's called. I'll leave it down in the description box below. But that group has like people who can support with arranging pet taxis or private pet taxis. So I went into the search bar, searched up pet taxi, and I was able to find someone who could arrange a pet taxi from the airport to my Airbnb, and then from my Airbnb to my school provided accommodation at the end of my stay. The taxi driver met me at the gate, okay? He met me at the gate. He pushed my luggage out to the parking lot. He put my stuff in there for me, and he dropped me off at my Airbnb. Then another taxi came at the end of my Airbnb stay, and then they drove me all the way there. They helped me take out my luggage. Oh my God, it was beautiful. I did pay for the private taxi in advance, so you can pay through PayPal, which they accepted, and it was I think 150 USD. I know it's really expensive. Please don't judge me. It was all for comfort. 150 USD for an hour drive, basically, or just over an hour drive from the airport to my Airbnb, and then it was 60 USD from my Airbnb to my school provided accommodation. I don't regret that whatsoever. If that's something that you're interested in, I would look into that as well, because that took such a huge load off. I couldn't imagine coming out with all of my bags and my kennel that I could barely push on the little roller thing and then look for a taxi. No. In terms of what my first month looked like, I'll keep it short because there's not really much to say aside from when I first got here. It took about 2 weeks to go see immigration. My appointment was 2 weeks out of arriving. Before I could go to immigration, I had to go do a health exam at a clinic nearby my school. You pay out of pocket for that health exam, or at least I did. I paid about $100 for that health exam, and then it takes a few days for the clinic to notify you that your results are ready, and then you'll receive your results and then go to your immigration appointment. You cannot go to your immigration appointment if you don't have your health exam completed. Now, when you do get to immigration, I paid about $50 or 50,000 won to get my ARC. I believe it was 50,000 because it also includes delivery of the ARC to your school, and then it took about 2.5 weeks to get my ARC. Yeah. Again, that was 2 weeks from arriving that I went to immigration, and then another 2.5 weeks after my immigration appointment that I got my ARC. After that, then I had to go to the bank. My school did not accompany me to the bank. Yeah. I think when you're with Epic or some other Hagwons may take you to the bank to help you set it up, because it is quite a complicated process of having to navigate when you don't speak the language very well. I made sure that the card that they were giving me also functioned online, because I've heard horror stories for whatever reason of people going to a bank and getting a debit card, but it only functions as an in-person debit card and not a Visa debit card that you can use online. So I made sure that I was given a Visa debit card. I also asked if they could set up a T-Money function, so my debit card also acted as a T-Money card. For my bank, the T-Money card acts as a post-paid function, so you use it and then once a month they'll deduct the amount that you've used up, while you were transporting yourself around the city. And another thing that I asked for was for them to set me up with a remittance account so I could send money from my Korean bank account directly to my Canadian bank account. I know a lot of people recommend Wise. I haven't looked into it. I probably should. But yeah, that's what I use. I'm using my remittance account from Korea to send money over to my Canadian bank account, and it takes about 3 business days for that money to show up in my Canadian bank account. I like it. I just do it through the app directly. Super easy. One thing I will also recommend you do is check if your bank has an app. They all should have an app, and then ask your bank teller if they can help you set yourself up on the app, because I just knew I would not be able to navigate it myself, and I'm so glad I did, because it took 40 minutes for her to help me navigate the app and set me up. So all I had to do was plug in my passcode the next time around, and then I would have access to everything to navigate my, my banking online. Now, finally, when it comes to budgeting, okay? I budgeted for 5K, and I used all of that in 6 weeks. Keep in mind, if I was single, I'd probably come with 3K, and I think that would be good enough. But 5K includes all of my transport. It includes Bronco's daycare. It includes buying all of my furniture from IKEA, Bronco's dog items. I bought him a bed, his food, his shampoo, his, the dog things, dog essentials. And I'm so glad I did that, because for me, knowing that like my apartment is already set up, I don't need to buy any more furniture. I have all of my home essentials. We're comfortable. Bronco settled in very well. He loved the fact that the home was cozy. I don't know. I felt like he did. I feel like if the home was very bare, Bronco wouldn't have been able to like feel cozy, comfy, and I made the space very similar to what my previous place looked like. So yeah, I think he really did like it. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. That's everything. Right now, I'm like 30 minutes into making this video. Oh my God. But I just wanted to share all of that information with you. And I hope that this was useful in some way. I will put everything down in the description box, and I will also add timelines. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.
Say bye.